DICE disabled a totally exploitable weapon attachment in Battlefield 2042, the biggest leak in Apex Legends history revealed 2 years of content, Rainbow Six Siege got its first new map in 3 years, and much more on Today in Gaming. Hey guys, Level Cap here. The 12-gauge frag rounds attachment in Battlefield 2042 has been temporarily disabled. A bug potentially introduced in a recent update made the frag rounds do way more damage than intended at extreme ranges. The exploit was discovered by players yesterday, and things really blew up when JackFrags made a video covering the issue. DICE are working on a fix and will re-enable the attachment in a future update. DICE are also making some significant changes to the featured portal mode rotation. Starting tomorrow, the number of feature modes will be reduced from 5 to 3. They'll also rotate twice a week to new experiences instead of once per week. DICE are also adding a new Friday night Battlefield experience that will be live every Friday for 24 hours in the portal mode. Friday Night Battlefield is one of the franchise's long-running community events, and the featured mode will change every week. We'll have to wait and see if these events will breathe some life into the portal experience. The mid-season update for Call of Duty Warzone made some of the biggest changes that we've seen since its Vanguard integration update last year. All the Battle Royale modes now start players with 150 base HP. This was initially done in the Vanguard Royale mode so the developers could test slowing down the game's TTK. Players on social media unanimously agreed that the change was an improvement and voted for it to be expanded to all modes. Vanguard's weapons have notoriously fast TTKs compared to the Cold War and Modern Warfare guns. The base HP change should make the TTK differences less intense. The other big change is an overhaul of the Rebirth Island map. The loot has been increased in less popular areas of the map to spread out combat. Tons of new cover was also added to the existing hotspots. The security area and shore have also been updated with new buildings and points of interest. Overall, the changes to Rebirth Island aren't exactly radical, but they should significantly improve the flow on the map. There's also a bunch of other changes and additions for Warzone modes as well, like a new deployable buy station, weapon trading stations, tweaks to reviving, smoke grenades, and much more. We'll have full patch notes linked below if you want to look them over. The next 2 years of content for Apex Legends has leaked. And before you get too excited, keep in mind that this is the second major leak of future content for the game, and much of the content in the original leak ended up not happening or being dramatically different. So please keep that in mind when you hear the details about the leak. Now, what looks like a development build of the game appeared on Google Drive recently. In this build, data miners discovered 9 new heroes, a new Battle Royale map called Divided Moon, new arena maps, map changes for Storm Point and Kings Canyon, tons of legendary cosmetics, and much more. Google quickly removed the file, but data miners had already archived its contents. Respawn haven't commented on the leak yet. Most of the assets in the file were placeholders or unfinished, so it's not like we got a complete rendered out picture of Apex's upcoming content, and most of this content will likely change as it gets closer to launch, if it even makes it that far. Elden Ring got a critical update that fixes an exploit cheaters were abusing to ruin other players' save files. If you were unfortunate and got targeted with this exploit, your character would get stuck in a death loop that required very precise inputs to fix. Today's update patches out the exploit and fixes some of the other minor issues. Rocksteady's upcoming action brawler Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed to spring 2023. It was originally scheduled to launch sometime this year. Suicide Squad will be the studio's first new title in over 8 years, following 2015's Batman Arkham Knight. That game wrapped up the Arkham trilogy, but it received mixed reviews and had such severe issues on PC that the publisher pulled it from sale for 5 months. Hopefully, the delay of Suicide Squad will ensure that sort of fiasco doesn't happen again. Stalker 2's developers, GSC Game World, are moving their operation from Ukraine to the Czech Republic to escape the ongoing invasion by Russia. GSC are moving to keep their employees and their employees' families safe. It seems likely that development will resume once they finish relocating. They announced that development was on hold temporarily when the conflict began 5 weeks ago. Cyberpunk 2077 got a minor update that fixes several bugs introduced in its big next-gen patch. Destroyed cars will no longer spawn in your path when driving at high speeds, an elevator in Mega Building H8 won't instantly kill you, summoned vehicles won't be so far away, and a bunch of stability issues have been fixed. A lot of problems, specifically on the console version of the game, were also addressed, like corrupted saves, delayed inputs, controller disconnects, and more. This update might be on the smaller side, but it's still good to see the devs ironing out Cyberpunk's lingering issues ahead of its first expansion. They confirmed it's still in active development but haven't said anything beyond that. The PlayStation 5 is finally getting a hotly anticipated feature. Variable refresh rate support will be added to the console line in coming months, according to Sony. You might be somewhat familiar with this technology with G-Sync or Adaptive Sync. It lets your computer or console talk to your display to keep them in sync. So if your game is running at, say, 74 FPS, for example, variable refresh rate will make the monitor also run at 74 refreshes per second. It also accounts for any FPS fluctuations and makes the display change its refresh rate dynamically to match the game. The result is a much smoother looking image when your game is either dipping below 60 FPS or fluctuating rapidly from high to low FPS. It also helps eliminate screen tearing since the display shows a new frame every refresh instead of partial frames spread across 2 or more refreshes. The PlayStation 5 will offer this feature as a system level option for unsupported titles, but developers can also update their games with native variable refresh rate support for the optimal experience. A new 4v1 multiplayer game based on the Ghostbusters film franchise was announced. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed will pit 4 human characters against a single, drumroll, ghost. You'll have tools like the iconic proton pack, PKE meter, and a ghost trap. The ghost will also be player controlled and they'll have all sorts of abilities. The game is being developed by the same team who did Friday the 13th the game and Predator Hunting Grounds. And while both of those titles received pretty average reviews, they make for fun party titles. Spirits Unleashed looks like more of the same from the studio. It's launching at the end of the year for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation with crossplay support for all platforms. Before we get to today's final story, we'd love to hear what you think of the stories in general. Did any of the news stand out in particular? Did we miss something that you are interested in? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss any upcoming news and events. Rainbow Six Siege is getting its first new map in 3 years. Emerald Plains is currently available on the game's test server. It's an Irish mansion with tons of unique rooms and multiple floors. Since it's only been live on the test server for less than a day, it's tough to get a sense of what players think. The map certainly follows the same formula of Ubisoft's general map reworks. It's a complex layout with a lot of routes, sightlines, and defensive positions. It should launch for the retail build of the game midway through the current season. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.